Carolyn Doobie here. What's the play for today? Well, I kind of almost maybe am slightly embarrassed to admit what's inspiring my play, and that's the theme to the Brady Bunch. It is so stuck in my head and I cannot get it out. So I decided I'm going to art that thing out of my head and create something based on it. So what am I going to use in the play? Well, I'm going to be using the Gel Press Impressable plate. Now these plates, if you haven't seen them, they've got a texture to them. They're embossed. It's just the coolest thing, but it behaves exactly like a gel plate. So you're going to see how I use this in lots of different ways to get this song out of my head. So I'm mixing together two plates today. I have got the Square and Square Impressible plate here. That's the one I'm putting the paint on. And I've also got the Square Petite from the Petite Set A over on the side. I'm actually going to use them together. I'm going to pick the pattern up off of this Impressible to build the page that is inspired by that song stuck in my head, that theme to the Brady Bunch. And I'm doing my thinking over on the plate where I'm actually moving the color around. The part where I'm not thinking is my cleanup paper where I'm cleaning off the brayer each time. But you know what? Sometimes you get some wonderful surprises when you're not thinking and you clean off that brayer. Well, now I've got the Impressible all loaded up with paint. I'm going to bring in the Petite Square and I'm going to put it somewhere on there and I'm going to press that gel press plate down and I'm going to pick up the pattern and the color. Then I can go and stamp it or put the print over on the piece of paper on the side. So what's that plastic on the back of the Petite? That's the plastic that it comes with in the package. That's what I use as sort of the mount for it to make it easy for me to just pop on some color from the Impressible and then stamp it over on the next page. Now I can keep going from the same spot on the Impressible if I wanted to create a very symmetrical pattern, or I can go and pick other places and create a very wonky, patchwork, quilted kind of look to it. Now the more that I do this, the more little bits and flecks of color randomly end up here and there because I keep moving color around by pressing that Petite into different spots on the plate. I'm going to clean it off over on my cleanup paper over there anytime I feel like I want to, or if I've got a buildup of color on there that I want to put off on that cleanup page. So are you seeing the Brady Bunch influence here? Remember in the intro where they had those 9 squares, that grid where their faces were and they were all looking down at each other? Well, that's what was in my head along with the song, and that's why I end up creating this pattern using the Petite and the Impressible. Well, now I've got the Brady Bunch out of my system. Now it's time to use the rest of the paint that's on that plate because there is still more wonderful pulls and prints to be made. And you bet if there is wet paint on a plate, you know I want to take that pull. Now with this, I'm going to get a ghost print and I'm going to get a lot of the pattern of the Square and Square Impressible. Now the colors on it though are not perfectly pure because I mingled them around a lot when I was doing the first printing in the video. And I love that that happens. You get little bits of color here and there. So now I've pulled the color off of the top of the Impressible and now I'm going to use the brayer to really push into this Impressible. What I'm doing is I want to squish out the paint that is in the nooks and crannies. And so I'm using more pressure than I normally would just to get the paint to squish out. And so now I've got a different look than what I got from the last print. Now, do you think I'm done getting prints off of this? Absolutely not. There's still wet paint in there, so by golly, I want to take that pull. So I'm bringing in the brayer again, and that way I can put a fair amount of pressure on this thing so that I can get in there to squish the paint out, get it from inside the nooks and crannies in it so that it comes into contact with the paper and will give me the pull. Now, I'm getting near the end of paint that I can pull out of there, but well, I'm not giving up on it yet. I am just going to take a corner and I'm going to press down with my hand and see what I get. And I'm going to keep going until I'm not getting any more pattern or paint coming up. So what about cleaning the Impressible if you've got some paint that dries on there? Well, my attitude towards cleaning is it doesn't bring me much joy, so I don't do it unless I really have to. Now, I'm willing to leave paint on my regular gel press plates, so I'm definitely willing to leave paint on an Impressible. Now, if cleaning brings you joy, you just hit it with some water and a paper towel or a baby wipe, and you can wipe the paint off of it. So here's a look at all the prints that I made in the video today. One of the things that I love about playing with these is all the different looks I can get from just one single play session. Now, one of the fundamentals about using a gel plate is that the more paint that you use, the more you're going to get more of that mixed media, squishy paint vibe to things. And the less paint you use, or when the paint's drier if you're taking the pulls, you're going to get a crisper, more precise look. And the stronger your understanding of the fundamentals of how a gel plate works, the easier it is for you to make the kind of prints that you fall in love with. If you'd like to skip all the trial and error and the guesswork of figuring out the fundamentals, check out my new workshop called Gel Printing Fundamentals. Well, thanks so much for joining me for today's play. If you'd like to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. That way you'll know as soon as I have a new video out. And of course, I've got all sorts of things over on the blog, like a newsletter, free workshop, and of course the new one, Gel Printing Fundamentals. Thanks so much for letting me be a part of your colorful journey.